I don't watch this, but have we seen or are we taking bets on when Galadriel ends up in bed with Sauron? I don't think that's gonna happen, but they sure are teasing her like being hung up on him. And no mention of Celeborn once in 3 episodes. Like, she mentioned him, was it the finale or towards the finale of season 1? She finally mentions that her husband, which I have no idea how they're gonna reintroduce him to her. She thinks he's dead, I guess. I don't know. She should have a daughter now too. Like, what's going on? I don't know what's going on with her character. The shipping, like, don't get me wrong, I like a good ship, but this is not a good ship. No, it's just icky. I don't see why everyone says there's shipping going on. Galadriel is just ashamed of her part to play and feels it in her soul. They're not overt. I think in season 1 there was some definite imagery that was overt. But the way they portray her, like, being hung up on Sauron, like he's in her head, I think it's just enough there to, like, fan the flames. And I just don't feel like there should be any of that for people to think that she has those romantic feelings. But the showrunners have stated it's in there. The actors have confirmed. It's not, like, completely her saying it out loud, but it's a lot of implications and some lines and some imagery, and her saying that she's hung up on him. He's still in her mind. He's never left. Again, that just speaks to they're saying how deceptive Sauron is, how much he got into Galadriel's head. But I never saw that. Again, this also feels forced. It feels forced. They're not outright saying that she has the hots for him. It's just a lot of, like, implications. Just enough implications for people to infer that. And I just don't want there to even be an implication. There's just a lot of language. How much he got into her head. Again, there was that one line that I just can't get out of my head. Galadriel said this: he played her like a harp, but to a melody not of her choosing. And it's just so funny because they say lines like that. He never lied to her. He didn't want to be involved. He didn't want to go to Numenor, and she forced him basically to do that. He never lied to her. The first words spoken directly to her were that looks can be deceiving. Or was that to her or just someone else? One of the first lines he said was looks can be deceiving, and he didn't want to go to Numenor. But she made him. She's just kind of like, you have to accept your destiny. She saw the heraldry, that little symbol of some sort of royal family line. So, well, he must be that. And he said, maybe I got it off a dead man, which he ended up, that's true. She's like, no, you're the king. You're the king of the Southlands. When there's, like, nothing to indicate, like, why are you so sure? She just kind of pushed him into this. And then she wants to then say, oh, how deceptive he was to me. Like, when he literally, and I think he actually said this in the finale, I never lied to you. And that's true. He never lied to her. And everything that Sauron does now is Galadriel's fault. I've seen a bunch of stuff on the Rings of Power promotional account. They're definitely fanning the flames of the Galadriel. What would it be now? Sauron-driel? That doesn't roll off the tongue. I keep talking about it because they are fanning that flame. And again, there's just enough there. I don't think they want to outright say that she has romantic feelings, but they imply it a lot. Again, to just portray her as being so willfully obtuse and ignorant of what's going on. One of the most powerful and wise beings, supposedly, as Tolkien wrote her. So it's just a bunch of that stuff, that how they're saying that he's in her mind. She can't get him out of her mind. Or Elrond says that he never left, the darkness is still in there. I just don't appreciate how they're portraying her as just seemingly blind with revenge. Well, that was last season. Blinded by revenge, refusing to see the facts straight in front of her because she's so young and she's so brash. There's a tempest in her. And in this season, she's like, they're kind of playing off of that. He deceived me, portraying her as like at the whim of her emotions and desire for power that he offered her, and almost at the whim of her hormones too. Good lord. Can we be just a little bit subtle about it? I think there could be more subtlety, but I don't think there should be any room for her having those romantic feelings, especially when Celeborn is around, which she did mention, but not so far this season. Like, why isn't she worried about him? That was the whole quest. She was on a quest of revenge because she wanted to avenge her brother's death, and then we find out she's married, and like, shouldn't you be wanting to go look for him? I forget what their explanation is. She just thinks that he's dead. She's so young. She's so brash. But also, okay, when it comes to the Elven rings, this is another thing. She's struggling with Sauron and whether or not he had a hand in this, whether or not the rings are a tool of his deception. And she ends up having this dream or vision of Celebrimbor. And he's saying the One Ring poem about the rings. And it's kind of this malevolent and ominous vision. So it's definitely bad. There's definitely bad vibes there. And even with that, even knowing that, that there's something up here with the rings, the creation of the rings. She still puts them on. She still doesn't have any hesitation or any doubts in regards to putting on the rings. It's just, it makes her again seem dumb. There's no other word for it. The writing is on the wall yet again in regards to her character and when it comes to Sauron. And again, she's just refusing to see what's right in front of her face. So she had this dream about the rings and this ominous feeling about them, and she still puts them on. She doesn't warn anyone. She still thinks it's fine. Every choice that she makes is just defies logic. To not tell anyone, I mean, she spent so long telling others about the evil of Sauron, that I must hunt him down because he's a threat to everyone. And then this same person doesn't let everyone know that Sauron was in their midst, only because it made her look bad too. That I just get that impression that she didn't want to own up to what she did because it made her look bad, made her look stupid, so she didn't want to tell him, like a petulant child just not wanting to own up to what they did. And that's what that scene felt like too, when Elrond confronts her when she's chasing him and they go to Gil-galad and they talk about the rings. They hash that out in the beginning. It feels like that. It feels like he's tattletelling on her and she's just not owning up to it. Like, again, a petulant child who just got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. And she's trying to make excuses. She even also tried to deflect to something Elrond did. And literally, he did nothing. It was only her. She just refused to see what was right in front of her. And again, Halbrand said, I never lied to you. And that's true. He never lied to her, but she was just so bullish about her quest for revenge and for her quest to find Sauron, who's a threat to everyone. And then when she finally found him, she doesn't say a peep. Literally, you were trying to find him and find proof of his existence to tell them and to gain support from Gil-galad, and you're not going to tell him that you found him. And you're going to have to, accept some responsibility for bringing him into their midst, but you should, like a responsible person, own up to that and admit your failings and not deflect, but own up to it and live with the fact that you brought this evil being in their midst and then didn't say anything. And we're supposed to be happy that they did this to her character, by the way. Oh, yeah, great for feminism. That's... Yeah, but every day I have to go online on Twitter and there's a new thing with the marketing department on the Lord of the Rings on Prime account. And it's mostly just Galadriel stuff. Ugh, it's so cringe.